Have you ever felt like you're almost about to discover something big about yourself? Like you're standing in front of a door and it says spiritual potential right on it.
And you're looking for the keyhole.
Exactly. Well, on this deep dive, we're going to give you a key or three.
And these keys, they're actually fun little tests, believe it or not.
I love that.
Yeah.
So tell me more. What are these tests and what makes them so special?
These aren't just like those, personality quizzes everyone takes online. We're going to really dive deep into 3 very unique tests.
Ooh, interesting.
Yeah, they come from the Spiritual Seek website.
Okay.
First, we've got the Reincarnation and Next Life test. Then there's a Soul Karma test.
Okay.
And finally, the Spiritual Gifts and Talents test. They're all about helping you, kind of explore different sides of your spiritual self, like looking into a mirror. But this mirror has, tons of different facets.
Oh, I like that. A multifaceted mirror to your soul.
Yeah.
And for our listeners, these tests are actually free right now for a limited time.
Yes.
You can find the passwords in the episode description. Go try them out. But first, obviously, we're going to unpack each of them with you a bit. So let's start with this reincarnation test.
Okay.
Is this going to tell me literally who or what I'm going to be in my next life?
It's not really about predicting the future, literally.
Okay.
But it's more about using reincarnation, the whole idea of it, as a way to think about yourself. It's like a thought experiment. The test kind of takes you through these questions about your fears and your hopes, what motivates you, all that good stuff. And then based on those reflections, it suggests some possible paths, like what your soul might choose, in a future life.
This is not about fortune telling. It's more about self-discovery, but through this lens of reincarnation.
Exactly. The questions make you think about, what you really desire, what motivates you at your core, your soul level.
I see.
For example, there's this question about your greatest fear. If you're, let's say, most afraid of being alone, that might mean in a future life you'd really focus on connecting with others. You'd be all about nurturing those relationships.
Wow. So it takes these simple answers and reveal these potential patterns or themes that could play out over multiple lifetimes, maybe?
Yeah. It makes you think about how your choices now could affect, hypothetically, a future you, a future life. And it helps you connect with why you do the things you do, but on a much deeper level.
Very cool. I'm already intrigued. Now, what about this soul karma test? Karma is one of those concepts that can be kind of tricky, loaded, I guess. How does this test deal with it?
It actually goes way beyond that simple idea of karma being just cause and effect.
Okay.
Like you do something bad happens to you. It's not like that. This test looks at karma as this whole tapestry. It's about the lessons you learn, energies, patterns we carry. It's about understanding all the things that influence you, not just actions from the past, but on an energetic level too.
So it's not about counting up all the good things and bad things you did.
No, not at all. It's more like seeing the big picture of your soul's journey and the energies you're working with right now in this life. And it breaks it down into how intense your karma is, the type, its themes, how much it's helping you grow.
Okay, break that down a little for me. What is karmic intensity?
Think of it like how strong the karmic energies are that you're dealing with in this life. If you have high karmic intensity, that might mean you've got some big lessons to learn, maybe facing tougher challenges, but those are actually opportunities to grow a lot.
It's almost like measuring how much karmic weight you're carrying.
You could see it that way, but remember, it's not about judgment. It's about understanding the level of, intensity your soul is going through.
Got it. So we've got the reincarnation test, which is about exploring potential, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then the karma test is about understanding what influences us.
Mm-hmm.
What does this last one reveal? This spiritual gifts and talents test.
This one's all about discovering those special gifts you have, those talents that connect you to something much bigger. It's like finding a treasure chest full of abilities that go way beyond your everyday skills.
So it's not just about what I'm good at, but about some kind of deeper potential I have, something that's wired into my soul.
Exactly. It identifies 16 different gifts, each one unique. We're talking healing, prophecy, teaching, stewardship, things that can really make a difference in the world.
Hold on. Did you say prophecy? Like seeing the future kind of stuff?
Not exactly in that sense. Here, prophecy means knowing and sharing deeper truths, maybe seeing patterns that others don't.
So, someone with that gift might be a really amazing teacher, someone who can guide and inspire others with their insights.
Yeah, exactly. They'd be naturally drawn to sharing wisdom and helping people connect with their own truths.
Okay, I'm starting to get it. Now, you mentioned stewardship. What would that look like?
Stewardship is about being connected to nurturing and protecting. Imagine someone who's just drawn to taking care of things, but on a bigger scale. Like they might be super into environmentalism, fighting for social justice, anything where they can help the planet and everyone on it.
They just naturally feel responsible for taking care of things,
Yeah.
but in a much bigger way.
Exactly. And that's just one example. Each of the 16 gifts has its own unique way of expressing your potential and making a difference.
Wow, so with these 3 tests, we're getting a really full picture, huh? The reincarnation test is about the future, potential. The karma test helps us understand our influences.
Right.
And the gifts test reveals these strengths we already have. It's like they all fit together like puzzle pieces.
That's the best part. They work best when you think about them together, not just separate results, but connected aspects of your spiritual journey. You might find that, the themes from your karma test explain why you have a certain gift that you never even realized, or that potential future life you saw in the reincarnation test. It actually fits perfectly with the kind of service you're drawn to based on your gifts.
I love that. I can already see how the results of one test can help you understand the others even better. It's like this multi-dimensional approach to figuring yourself out, spiritually speaking, of course.
And don't forget, it's just the beginning. These tests, they're like the spark.
Right.
They make you curious, give you a starting point. The real journey is what you do with the results, how you connect them, how you use them to change your life.
It's not about getting stuck on a label, but about using the test to start discovering yourself and growing.
Exactly. The real value is in the journey itself. It's about asking those big questions, figuring out what's going on inside, and seeing how your spirit wants to express itself out in the world.
That's beautiful. And for our listeners, remember, these tests are free, but only for a limited time.
That's right.
You'll find the passwords to unlock all 3 in the episode description. Take advantage of this chance to jumpstart your own journey.
And when you dive in, go in with an open mind, be playful and curious. Don't be scared to challenge yourself, try different perspectives. You might be surprised by what you discover about yourself.
I'm already feeling inspired to take these tests.
Me too.
Why don't we take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll dig into some specific examples and how these tests can be like powerful tools to help you grow and change.
There's so much to unpack, especially when we look at self-discovery with this spiritual potential in mind. It's like we've given everyone listening a map, right?
Oh, I like that.
A map to their own spiritual landscape, all the hidden paths and treasures.
Love the analogy. So speaking of maps and treasures, let's get specific. Look at some of the questions in these tests. Like in the reincarnation test, one that really got me thinking was, what motivates you most in life? Seems like a simple question, but I bet it tells you a lot about what people really want deep down.
Totally. Like if someone's all about connection, love, maybe their next life would be dedicated to relationships or even healing emotional wounds.
Okay, interesting. But what if someone's more driven by achievements, like leaving their mark on the world?
That could point to a future life all about leadership, being innovative, maybe creating something that impacts tons of people, even future generations. The test wants you to think about these things not just in a normal way, but what do they mean for your soul? What kind of growth will it bring?
So it's not the achievement itself, but what that achievement does for your soul over time, over lifetimes even.
Exactly. Now let's switch gears to the soul karma test. There was one question that really made me think. Do you feel responsible, really responsible for the energy you bring into the world?
Ooh, that's a big one. That gets right to the heart of it, huh? Like how aware you are of karma and all that.
It's about realizing that we're all connected, that everything you think and do affects other things, people. If you answer always or often to that question, you're probably pretty sensitive to those karmic influences. Maybe other people's energy impacts you strongly, or you feel like you're here to make a positive difference. It's your purpose.
I can see that. But what if someone's like, nah, rarely, or sometimes, I guess. Does that mean they don't have to worry about karma?
No way. It just might mean they haven't figured out those deeper connections yet. The test isn't judging anyone. It's about giving you a way to understand all these, energies and how they work in your life.
Like a roadmap for this karmic journey.
Exactly. Okay, ready to peek into the treasure chest of gifts? The spiritual gifts and talents test. One that always gets people talking is prophecy.
Okay, before everyone starts thinking they'll predict the lottery numbers, maybe you can explain what prophecy really means here.
Right. It's not about fortune telling. Prophecy, in this sense, is about understanding those deeper truths. It's like you see patterns that other people miss, connect the dots, and you're not afraid to talk about those truths, even if they're difficult or people don't agree.
So less about seeing the future, more about understanding the big truths of the universe and helping other people see them too.
Exactly. Someone with that gift might be a great teacher, someone who speaks out for what's right, an activist, maybe even an artist, using their art to show people what's wrong, to inspire change.
They'd be able to see the big picture and guide others towards, a better way. Makes sense. What about discernment? That seems like a pretty useful one these days, right?
Discernment, it's like having a superpower to tell what's true and what's false, what's right and what's wrong. It's not about judging people, but you have a strong sense of what's right, what's moral, and you can see through lies and people's hidden agendas.
So someone with strong discernment, they'd probably do well as counselors, lawyers, or even like investigative journalists.
Yeah.
They need to be able to see past the surface, right?
Absolutely. They just know deep down what's genuine and what's not. Super valuable when things are complicated, you know?
Yeah, definitely. What strikes me about these gifts is that they're not trying to put you in a box. It's more about, hey, these are your strengths. Go out there and use them to make a difference. Do something meaningful in your own way.
That's the point. They're like arrows pointing you towards what you're good at naturally, where you'll feel most fulfilled.
So people are probably thinking, okay, this is cool, but how do these tests actually help me grow? I get the results. What now?
Good question. Let's start with the reincarnation test. When you understand those potential future lives, it can help you see your choices now, what motivates you, in a whole new light. Say the test tells you, hey, in a future life, you'll be a healer.
Okay.
Ask yourself, how can I be more compassionate, more understanding right now? How can I start doing that today?
Makes sense. You're connecting the potential to what you can do right now in this life.
Exactly. Use those insights to make choices that get you closer to the kind of soul growth you want, both in this life and beyond. Now, for the soul karma test, how does understanding those karmic patterns help us grow?
Right.
Well, when you know your patterns, it can be really powerful. You start to see why you have certain experiences, and you can finally break free from those negative cycles.
Like if the test shows you keep sabotaging yourself, you can start to notice when you're doing it and actually stop yourself.
Exactly. You're taking charge of your karmic journey, making choices that lead to more freedom and happiness. And, of course, let's not forget the spiritual gifts and talents test.
Yeah, finding out what your gifts are can be a huge motivator. It can give you a sense of purpose, make you want to use your talents for something bigger than yourself.
Imagine discovering you have a gift for teaching and feeling this, like urge to share your knowledge. Or you find out you're super creative and feel drawn to art, to making the world more beautiful, more inspiring.
It's about embracing what you're good at, finding ways to make a positive impact that feels right for you,
Totally. So as we wrap up this part of our deep dive, let's just take a second to think about how these tests can help us live more fulfilling, more purposeful lives.
Yeah.
Remember, they're not about labeling you or putting limits on what you can do.
Right.
They're just tools to explore. They offer insights to unlock your potential, maybe heal old wounds, and create a life that feels like, this is what I'm meant for. This is my soul's path.
And for everyone listening, these tests are free for limited time, so don't miss this chance.
Absolutely.
You'll find the passwords in the episode description. Take the plunge, explore your potential. Now, some people might be wondering, how accurate are these tests? What do you think about that?
It's a good question. I mean, anytime we talk about like spiritual stuff, it's natural to wonder, is this for real? Can these tests really tell us something meaningful, or are they just, a fun way to pass the time?
Right. It's important to remember that they're not like predicting your future or anything. Okay, good.
They're more like tools to help you think about yourself, explore different possibilities, not like a crystal ball telling you exactly who you are or what's going to happen. They're about sparking ideas, opening up new ways of seeing things.
So it's more about, okay, here's a starting point. Let's see where this takes me, rather than this is the absolute truth.
Exactly. You look at the results and you ask yourself, what feels right to me? What rings true? And most importantly, how can I use this to live a life that feels more real, more fulfilling?
It's about taking control of your own spiritual journey, No matter what a test says, you get to choose your own path.
Absolutely. And if something in the results just doesn't feel right, don't ignore that feeling. Question it. Maybe it's showing you something about yourself you haven't wanted to admit, or maybe it's pushing you to try something new, see things from a different angle.
I like that. The real growth comes from being curious, being open to new ideas.
That's where the magic happens, when you use the tests to challenge yourself, to see things in a new way.
One thing that I thought was cool about these tests is how open they are when it comes to spirituality. They don't seem to be tied to any one religion or belief system.
True. They let you explore all sorts of spiritual ideas, archetypes, you know? It's all about finding what connects with you personally.
Yeah, like with the reincarnation test, it
Right.
just doesn't just ask, do you believe in reincarnation? It's more like, what are you afraid of? What do you hope for? What drives you? It helps you actually experience the concept, not just think about it.
Right. And the soul karma test doesn't just say, you did bad things, so bad things will happen. It's about realizing how everything's connected, that your actions have an impact on the world around you.
And the spiritual gifts and talents test. It goes way beyond, basic skills and talents. It helps you see those special, almost sacred gifts that you bring to the world.
It's all about expanding your idea of what spirituality means. It's about seeing the world in a more complete, inclusive way.
I love that, recognizing that we're all connected, that everyone has this divine spark inside them.
And using that knowledge to make your life more meaningful, more fulfilling.
Exactly. Well, as we wrap up this deep dive, I want to remind everyone one last time that these tests are free, but only for a limited time. You can find the passwords in the episode description. Don't miss this chance to explore your own spiritual potential.
And as you start exploring, remember to have fun with it. Be curious. Don't be afraid to experiment, challenge yourself, and see what you discover in those hidden parts of yourself.
That's what it's all about, right? Embracing the journey, seeing how deep you can go, and finding those amazing, unique gifts you have to share with the world. Go out there and explore, everyone.